To table those documents, is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number three, Metiria Turei. Order, I've called Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he still stand by his statement that, quote, the welfare system will always be there to support those who genuinely need it, end quote?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes.
Metiria Turei.
What advice has the Prime Minister received that having WINS officers, quote, assist women to decide whether they want to have children, end quote, is in breach of the UN Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, which guarantees that women have the right to make their own decisions on the number and spacing of their children?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, women in New Zealand will continue to always have that right. The government is giving about $1 million so that women may wish to go and get medical advice, and we're investing $55 million over the next 4 years for 155 dedicated work and income staff to support job seekers. But, Mr. Speaker, I think the government is doing the right thing in assisting women in a program which is totally voluntary and totally reversible.
Metiria Turei.
How could this policy not be designed to discourage deprived women and their daughters from having children, when this contraception policy is in direct response to the Welfare Working Group, who said that the work testing regime may provide an incentive for women to have children and therefore WINS should assist women on a benefit to decide whether they want to have children?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think the government assisting what can be very vulnerable young people to make sure they have both adequate access and advice when it comes to planning a family or potentially preventing unwanted pregnancies is the right thing to do. In fact, the governments of all different colours have a history of supporting both family planning, providing support and subsidised services, and for all sorts of contraceptives, which I think have been very beneficial to a great many young New Zealand women and men.
Metiria Turei.
If the Prime Minister is genuinely offering an option for vulnerable young women who would like contraception but cannot afford it, why is he providing this through WINS case officers who can exert financial pressure over these vulnerable women and not through safer, proven and private environment of health services which already do that work?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaking, we're not. Doctors will provide that advice, but they will carry to work and income for a reimbursement of their costs. I think that's actually a sensible and mature thing to do, and it's what historical governments have done in the past.
Jacinda Ardern.
The Prime Minister, is he considering improving access to contraception for all low-income women, or just those on benefits? If so, why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, no, at this point we're not considering widening that out because we already subsidise a number of contraceptive options for a wide range of people, including fully subsidising the emergency pill.
Metiria Turei.
Does the Prime Minister believe that men and their sons should also be, quote, assisted to decide whether they want to have children, end quote, and given funding for contraception by their WINS case managers, or does he believe that sexual reproduction is solely a woman's responsibility?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, far from it. I think New Zealand parents have an absolute responsibility to speak to their sons and daughters and, where possible, give them the best advice that they possibly can. But I think we're talking about a group of young women who are particularly vulnerable, and the stats show us that a great many of them do fall pregnant and actually go on to the DPB.
Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that poverty data shows that a third of all children in poverty are living in homes where their parents work, why won't he offer fully funded contraception to all families who want it through the Community Services Card? And if he won't do that, how is this policy not just a blatant discrimination and coercion of vulnerable young women who find themselves on the benefit?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, because we already subsidise through community services cards and certain other contraceptives in New Zealand, contraceptives for low-income people And Mr Speaker, I think one thing that will make those women particularly vulnerable is if they have an unwanted pregnancy.
Just before I call the honourable member, the Metiria Turei is asking the questions, and I'm finding it hard to hear the answers because of interjections from the Labour Party. And I think it's only reasonable that Metiria Turei should be able to hear the answers more clearly. Metiria Turei, supplementary question.
Can the Prime Minister guarantee that not one single young mother will be told by their caseworker in some form, you should take up this offer of Depo-Provera, because if you have another child on the benefit, you will have to go to work and be work tested when that baby is just 12 months old, and if you don't, your benefit is at risk?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I would expect work and income case managers to ensure that any client of work and income understands the government's policies, and the government's policy is that if you are on the DPB and have a further child on the DPB, then you will be work tested when that child is one.
Point of order, Metiria Turei.
So I seek leave to table a document. It is a letter from the Ministry of Social Development to my office dated 11 April 2012, confirming that the contraception policy in the budget is directly a response to the Welfare Working Group, who wants to disincentivise women from having children on the benefit by requiring WINS to assist women to make decisions about their number of children.
Leavers sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 4, Pesata Sam Lord Tuienga.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.